Hey, shalom, 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 shalom. First and foremost, let me give all praise and glory unto Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rachaha Kwadash. I want to give double honors unto the apostles, the bishops, and the elders of Great Millstone that do rule exceptionally well. They continually feed the flock with 100% truth. They do that free of charge. They also uplift and they magnify the name of Yahweh and also the name of Yahweh Shai. Let me say shalom, salutations, mercy, and blessings to all the sincere brothers that's out there that push this word with truth and with faith, striving to be a part of the hopeful elect. To the very best of their ability, they're doing the right thing in the sight of Yahweh Shem Yahushai. They're also doing their part to uplift and to magnify the name of Yahweh and also the name of Yahweh Shai. Also, let me say shalom citations to you sincere sisters, the very few of you that's out there that sincerely is seeking to do the right thing in the sight of Yahweh Shem Yahushai. To you as well, I will say shalom. My name is Tabawa Amath of Great Millstone Northwest. By now, you've probably heard about Genesis as a group bowing out of the race, okay, which we knew that this was going to fizzle out the moment that they established themselves and broke from Sakari. We knew that they were going to fizzle out. Hell, we always knew that Sakari itself was going to fizzle out as it was not set up properly to follow after Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. All right, so it didn't really come as too much of a surprise of Genesis falling out, fizzling out, declaring that they were going to step back from the ministry. Anyone who's willing to step back from the ministry or to take a break rather than to push forward, okay, regardless of what scandal comes come forth, if you're willing to say I'm not going to do the work for an extended period of time, that means that you're not fit for the battle. All right. Yahweh Shai very clearly says in Luke the 6th chapter. In fact, let's grab it. Luke 6, and it's at the end of Luke the 6th chapter. I want to say the 62nd verse, but I could be wrong on that. Luke chapter 6, all the way down at the bottom. All right. This isn't what I'm looking for. Is it Luke 6? I thought it was Luke 6. It's Luke 6 at the bottom apparently is building your house upon the sand. Luke 9. Luke 9 and 62. There we go. Luke 9 and 62. I'm sorry. Luke 6 is the Luke 6 is the parable of the man who builds his house upon the sand or upon the rock, which essentially that's the same thing as well. That ties in very well with this, as Genesis was something that was built upon sand rather than upon the rock. All right, so Luke 6 at the bottom of that chapter fits perfectly as well. But what I was originally thinking of was this: Luke chapter 9, verse 62. And Yahweh said unto him, no man having put his hand on the plow and looking back is fit for the kingdom of heaven. All right, and with that, you can extrapolate that if you, for whatever reason, decide that you're not going to do the work for an extended period of time, regardless if you're saying, oh, we got to self-reflect and we'll come back. Well, how long are you planning on allowing the flock to be without their shepherd and to be without the food source before going astray? All right. Are you getting devoured by the wolves? How long are you planning to leave your congregation alone with no guidance? Okay. Because he did not give a specific time frame. All right. And he said, based off of this message, as I said, everybody probably seen this. Everybody's probably aware of the scandal with the deacon Hakah. All right, that weirdo. All right, everybody probably is aware of the scandal. It's still unfolding as even today. His ex-woman, or whatever, has still put forth some more information, and it seems as if she plans on releasing even more information on this guy. Pretty much, he's abusive. He doesn't practice what he preach. It shows that he does not take the Israelite thing seriously. All right, it showed that everything was just about making money with him, which that's something that we've always said. Okay, so brothers have the top men have already did videos going into the subject. I'm not going into that subject. I just want to speak about how the joy of the hypocrite itself is only for a moment. All right, and Genesis wasn't established properly, and that is the reason why they are going to fizzle out. And let this be a warning to the rest of you who are out there who is not sincerely following after Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. you are going to be fizzled out at some point. The Lord will remove you out of the way. Okay. As we get closer and closer and closer to salvation, it's going to be evident that only one path was correct. Okay. Now, if you're following after that path, you ain't got nothing to worry about, so long as you are doing your part to properly examine yourself. Don't examine yourself after the scandal. Examine yourself before the scandal happens, all right? Before it breaks off, okay? Before it gets as bad as it does, okay? You should be able to, if you're a spiritually minded individual who's actually paying attention, you should be able to witness and recognize when it's time for you to start shaping up, all right? Every now and then you gotta realize, like, man, damn, I gotta get back in shape, all right? Just speaking as a man, sometimes you may have like a workout regimen that you may go hard with for a while, and sometimes you may lighten up on it, and then eventually you'll know, okay, I got to get back to it. Okay, so it's the same thing spiritually. You should know when it's time to lock all the way back in if you've been uh, taking your foot off the gas, so to speak. All right. So don't wait. Don't take these guys' example and wait until only after some crazy ass news comes out about you, and that's when you want to try to get right. Don't do that. Okay. Don't allow crazy ass news to come out about you in the first place. All right. If you're doing something behind doors that you don't want the public to know about, you shouldn't be doing it. Period. Point blank. All right. And the Lord, I did a video, my recent video. The Lord said that He was going to expose everything, that everything that was hidden was going to come to the light. So let's grab that Luke 6, since we did mention it. Let's come back over to that. Luke chapter 6. Let's come on down here. Let's read this. This is Luke chapter 6. Let's read verse 46. It says, "And why call ye me Lord, Lord, and do not the things which I say? Whosoever cometh to me and heareth my sayings and doeth them, I will show you to whom he is like." Let's read the rest of this in the NLT. Verse 48 in the NLT. "It is like a person building a house who digs deep and lays the foundation on solid rock. When the flood waters rise and break against the house, it stands firm because it is well built. But anyone who hears and doesn't obey is like a person who builds a house right on the ground without a foundation. When the floods sweep down against that house, it will collapse into a heap of ruins." So if you didn't build a solid foundation with Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, then everything's going to fall apart. When the adversity comes, it's all going to fall apart, and that adversity surely is coming. All right, and it's coming for all of us. This was something light. What these guys fell off on was something extremely light, man. Okay, something extremely, something that could have been handled behind closed doors, something that could have been handled a while back ago, from the sounds of it. Okay, but it wasn't, and they allowed it to fester and to grow into what it is now, where dirty laundry is being placed out there, where you have it where this guy Hakah is stepping back, and without Hakah, Hassad, this dude doesn't have any leadership quality, so he's pulling the entirety of the Genesis group to step back. Okay, so this whole thing is a mess, man. If you're involved in some mess, anybody that's out there, whoever may listen and hear this video, if you're involved in some mess, correct it, man. Get your house in order before you be an example as well. Okay, if you got something that you're doing that you don't want everybody to know that you're doing it, you probably shouldn't be doing it, man. I mean, you know that it ain't right, and you shouldn't be doing it. So if it's something that can reflect negatively on the ministry, you shouldn't be doing it. Okay, let's read what it says in Job, because the whole time this scandal has been falling throughout the last yesterday's when it broke. Yesterday, or maybe even the day before yesterday's when it broke, and then it's lasted through to today. So it's a very recent scandal that's going on, and it's ongoing as the lady is still producing evidence and information against that guy Hakah, who we've told you from the jump wasn't right. But from the very first moment of hearing it, the scripture that popped into my mind, which I was a little surprised that nobody has really hit this one yet. Okay, there's a myriad of scriptures that have been used, but this one itself, I guess, it's not ringing in the minds, the same way. But that's fine. Job chapter 20 verse 5. Okay, or actually verse 4. It says, "Knowest thou not this of old, since man was placed upon the earth, that the triumphing of the wicked is short, and the joy of the hypocrite but for a moment." And that's these guys at Genesis, man. They are wicked, okay, as they have reversed the entirety of the doctrine from what they was originally teaching. They've pulled a complete 180. All right, went from selling you a specific doctrine and then pulled a 180 to try to sell you the full opposite of that same doctrine that they was once teaching you. That's wicked. All right, the fact that they were selling it in the first place is wicked as hell. Okay, and that's also hypocritical, as you're a hypocrite if you do anything that if you ain't practicing what you preach, you're being a hypocrite. All right, let's look up the word for hypocrite. Let's see what it is right here in Job, the 20th chapter, verse 5. All right, this word we have is kanap. All right, kanap. Okay, which says hypocritical, godless, profane, hypocrite, irreligious. Okay, the definition: impious, impious, impious. I'm sorry, impious. All right, soiled, hypocrite. Let's check out the word impious. That would be a word I expect that guy, that guy Hassad to know. Okay, let me see. Impious. Let's check out that word. Let's go to the Merriam-Webster dictionary here, and let's look at this word for impious. There we go. I was like, where's the app? It's all the way at the bottom. Here we go. Impious. Okay. Not pious, lacking in reverence or proper respect. Okay. Not pious.
Impious.
Impious. All right. Impious. Not pious. So let's take a look at the word for pious. Okay. Get out of here, ads. Come on, man. That's not the X. Maybe that's the X. Okay. Pious. Marked by or showing reverence or deity and devotion to divine worship. All right. Marked by conspicuous religiosity, or something on the manner of that. All right. Sacred as devotional, as distinct from profane or secular. So these guys, they didn't hold firm to the faith properly. All right. And that's evident with the fact that they have gone and pulled a full Uno reverse on the entire doctrine that they was once teaching. All right. So that's a hypocrite. Okay. Not being pious, not being true to what it was that they once said that, the doctrine was the truth. And then they straight up changed and said, nope, I don't believe that anymore. Even on the name of the Lord. All right. Which they've been getting got on about. Even changing the name of the Lord. That was a big, major offense. And since you did that, the Lord made quick work of you guys to pull a small little thorn to be what tears you guys all the way up. Okay? Being that this dude Hakah is basically pimping out his wife for money. Not in the aspect of making them go and, sell ass, but any dollar they make, he's snatching it from them. Okay? Which where in the scriptures tell you to go and take all the money from your wife. But that's not here nor there. The real point is that Genesis has declared that they were going to stop doing the work. All right. In the interim, the brothers, this is what I'm reading right here, right in the middle. In the interim, the brothers in Genesis and I will also take a step back to analyze ourselves and to make sure we are moving in the right spirit. Okay? So you're telling me that you're going to take a step back. Well, for how long are you guys planning on stepping back and not doing the work of Yahweh Shemel Shai? Because one man does not stop the show. All right. The term used to be one monkey don't stop the show. Okay. One man doesn't stop the show. You're supposed to continue going. Just because he is found out to be, a weirdo or getting blasted in public of being a weirdo doesn't mean that everybody has to abandon the duty of pushing forth the words of Yahweh Shem Al Shai. But the thing is, that guy Marco, Priest Hakah, or Deacon Hakah, or whatever the hell his name was, he was the brains and the operation of the whole thing, man. Okay? That's why everybody has to step back, because without him, you don't have a Genesis. Apparently, without him, there is no leadership for this group Genesis. So that's what we're seeing. All right. So their joy was but for a moment. They really thought they was some top guys. Their triumphing was very short, man. Okay. But it was short lived. It wasn't meant to be long lasting. All right. Let's read what it says in the book of Psalms, chapter 37. I'm going to close this out here in a second. I ain't going to make this too much longer. Psalms chapter 37. Let's read what it says down here at verse 35. Okay. It says, so I can scrolling a little slow. It says, I have seen the wicked in great power and spreading himself like a green bay tree, yet he passed away, and lo, he was not. Yea, I sought him, but he could not be found. So ultimately, all those that ain't right, you're gonna be cast away, man. The Lord gonna do away with you. All right, like it's been pointed out in many of the videos that the higher ups have done. All right, by higher ups I mean the apostles, the bishops, the elders that have done the videos already. Like they have stated, the words of Gamaliel, that if this work be of men, it will come to naught. All right. And we're seeing it come to naught right before our very eyes. Let's go to Psalms chapter 73. All right. It was just in 37. Now we're going to go to 73. This is what it says right here at verse 18. It says, surely thou didst set them in slippery places. Now, when you read up in this chapter, starting at the first verse, it says, truly, God is good to Israel. The Most High is good to Israel, even to such as are of a clean heart. But as for me, my feet were almost gone. My steps were well nigh slipped. For I was envious at the foolish when I saw the prosperity of the wicked. Okay, so what's being spoken about is the prosperity of the wicked, and that's what it seemed like Genesis had. But this lady's bringing out all the backdoor stuff, what people ain't seeing on the surface, which is that he's causing, you know, his so-called wife, the woman who's having children with him, who's supposed to be tied to him for life. Okay, because the bill of divorce isn't something that is just, oh, I'm just going to will out the bill of divorce. All right. Nah, you're supposed to actually be locked in. Okay. Jake don't know what the hell they getting into, man. But you're supposed to be locked in. And with that, you ain't supposed to be trying to bankrupt and take all the money and leave them in a terrible spot, man. But he was doing that on some control stuff, on some pimp stuff. But again, that's just him. That's him. He's gonna have to deal with that. The real focus of this whole thing is the fact that Genesis as a group is falling out. All right, Genesis as a group is calling quits. Okay, as is stated by the brother Hassad right here, who was the second in command. All right, who should now be the top dog in Genesis. And what does he do when the power seat rolls over to him? He says that everything's stopping. Pull up the anchors. We're selling away. Okay. Let's get back over here. So Psalm chapter 73. Let's come back down here to verse 18. All right. So we know that he's talking about the prosperity of the wicked that had happened. Okay. It says, surely thou didst set them, the them being the wicked, in slippery places. Thou castest them down into destruction. How are they brought into desolation? As in a moment, they are utterly consumed with terror. So the Lord has brought down this group Genesis, man. Okay? The Lord did that. All because they wasn't right all the way from the beginning. They never set their foundation up to be correct. And that is why we see them, according to the Brother Hassad, stepping back. Them no longer pushing themselves to the front in the in this whole ministry thing. Okay? So this is all orchestrated by Yahweh Bashim Yahshua. You got to remember, the Lord said not everybody that calls and says Lord, Lord is going to be accepted. All right. Let's finish out on that. Matthew chapter 7. Okay. And we'll come down here at verse 21. It says, not everyone that saith unto me, Lord, Lord, shall enter into the kingdom of heaven, but he that doeth the will of my Father which is in heaven. So not everybody who pops up and say, yeah, we're Israelites, Esau's the devil, grab a hold of your Bible, let's learn. Not everybody who gets involved in the ministry is going to be accepted by Yahweh Shem Shai, okay? Because the majority of our people just plainly they ain't got it, they ain't right. All right. Now the Lord was merciful unto us and has provided us a way to return back onto him and proper teachers to guide us back onto him. All right, which we believe to be starting first and foremost with the apostles of Great Millstone and working its way through the ranks of Great Millstone and those that follow the doctrine. Okay, but you're free to believe whoever you want to. If you want to follow Genesis into the abyss as they have quit, then go ahead and do that, man. But as for me and my house, like it says in the book of Joshua, we're going to serve the Lord, man. All right. But pretty much that's the point. I'm going to go ahead and close it there. These guys have the curtains closing on them. They took their final bow. The curtains closed. The show's over. It's time to go home for Genesis, man. Okay. Till next time, I'm going to say shalom. Continue to cry out until Yahweh Shem Shai in hopes that we can get the hell up out of here. Shalom.